side, so analyzing the new map, Neo Overwatch, which is in the iCCup map pack now. So, let's start speaking a little bit about the mains. Pretty standard, pretty big, which is what you would expect on a new map. You don't want to have small mains where you can't even place your buildings properly. So the choke is like standard now, quite large actually. Maybe just a bit larger than, for instance, in Fighting Spirit. I think the entrance of the natural expand is wide enough and not too much, which is quite important, especially in builds, in matchups, sorry, like ZVP or TVP, basically where walling is involved. I think, yeah, I think, especially also in TVZ, actually, you might sometimes want to wall your expand, and here it seems that the entrance is quite good. We have 7 mineral patches on the expand, and 9 on the main, pretty standard. I think it's the same thing on Fighting Spirit as well. The third base is on a high ground with 2 access, like one for your enemy and one for you. It's in a high ground, it has 7 mineral patch as well, and it has a gas. Nothing too special to say about that. It's quite an easy third to take. For instance, Terrans could build their CC here and just lift their CC and land it here, which would take no more than maybe 15 seconds, so that's perfect. Exactly the same chokes as we have on the main. Okay, so when you leave your natural, you have one way up to your expand, and there is a huge high ground choke here, which allows, for instance, Terrans to place a few tanks, Zergs to prepare an attack with lurkers, or so your force base would be most of the time somewhere here. No, like if you started here, your force base, I assume, here it would be pretty hard to defend it, since it can be attacked from the high ground here, and it could be attacked really directly from this huge, very large flat ground here. So I don't think you would take your force base here. I think you would probably take it here. Once again, this base is on the high ground. It has 7 mineral patches. Yeah, it's pretty much the same as your third, basically, because okay, no, right, the first ramp is much bigger than on your third, but yeah, it's quite the same story. It's an interesting map, as you can see. It's a 2-spot map. You know exactly where your opponent is gonna start. I like 2-spot maps, but it's a big one. It doesn't look at all like Resonance, like Heartbreak Ridge, Bloody Ridge. It doesn't look at all the same. Really not the same at all. We have 2 very interesting, and I would say very strategic, big chokes in the middle of the map, one here and one here, which basically split the map in halves and kinda forces your the players to choose or one way on the left or one way on the right, and sometimes I think we could see very interesting fights, especially in TVPs, ZVPs, matchups like that, where yeah, we could we could see very interesting fights on the chokes here for the control of the map, especially since we have, don't forget, those mineral only bases here. So it's quite an interesting map with a lot of difference of levels. It's not a flat map at all. You have no low ground. You have basically 2 difference of levels. One, for instance, the high grounds, such as the mains, the third, and so on, and the low grounds, such as the natural. and you don't have any low ground such like on maps such as Circuit Breakers, which, as you know, is my favorite right now. But Neo Overwatch is really probably my favorite map among the new maps which have been released in the new iCCup map pack. So um, one bridge. So yeah, I love that bridge because it makes it a bit tricky to attack directly your opponent's natural. It's actually much simpler to attack from the very large way that you have, coming like from the south here, for instance. But to do that, you have to go all the way left, all the way on this high ground here, and then attack, instead of just, going straight from the bridge. But your attack would be much more powerful, efficient, but it also gives time to your opponent to go back and defend. So, and it also might force some trade-based situations. So I really like the morphology of this map, if I can say so. It really forces interesting situations, and yeah, and also like especially as Terran players, you will have to be really concerned, really careful about those run-bys. A lot of Zerg players might be tempted to run by you going from this way here, hiding their units on the high grounds, and then just going all the way here to attack your natural. Also, you might have noticed that the third is quite far from the natural, so even though it's quite an easy base to take, and that's what I really like about that base, it's that the distance between your main and the third is really short, the air distance at least. But to defend it, to bring your troops and your SCVs, you have to go all the way south like that, or north like this, and it could be tricky. So yes, it's pretty easy to defend base because the choke is not so huge, because you can wall it very easily with 3 pylons, 3 supplies or whatever, but or just 2 lurkers. But yeah, you have to go all the way to defend it. It's actually, it doesn't look like it, but it's quite far from your main. And yeah, and also one interesting feature on that map is that, on a lot of maps, such as Fighting Spirit for instance, the Zerg players will most of the time take their third base, like here for instance, at a totally opposite part of the map, because they need, this high ground to place some lurkers and so on, and also because you can hide it from your opponent, and then in the macro game, defend it with some Nidus canals and so on. But here, I think most of the Zergs, if I was playing Zerg, that's what I would do anyway, will take their third base here, like any Protoss or Terran players. And I think that's really interesting, because it will, maybe we will see on those kinds of maps more maybe less battles all around the map, which is one of my favorite features about Brood War, is that unlike SC2, unlike StarCraft 2, on Brood War you have a lot of battles going all around the map. But maybe on this map here, even though it looks really tricky and complicated, maybe because the third base is so easy to take even for a Zerg, and because also his fourth base could be on the high ground here, which is pretty easy to defend and to take, maybe we are gonna see some split map situations with huge central fights between big armies, and that's what I like, because it's not gonna be big fights between big armies on a flat ground, it's gonna be on a very tricky map. So I think that's really a very nice watch. Sorry, a very nice map. There is everything you would expect from a new map on Neo Overwatch. So yeah, that's what, in my opinion, is a very good map. And I'm really looking forward to be able to host and to do a lot of games on that map. So yeah, that was my review of Neo Overwatch 2.0, the new map of the iCCup map pack. Thanks.